Just excited to be here. Excited to get comfortable with our surroundings and everything and the time change and the grass is out here. It's a little different than back in Southern Alabama. So, um, yeah, just excited to be here.
Clay, what has been, your message to the team heading into this week? What are you kind of drilling into their heads as they get ready to compete?
Yeah, I think that we can compete with any team in the country. We've thought that all year. When the guys arrived on campus back in August, we told them like this is our year. We had the guys to take it pretty far in postseason, and throughout the whole year we've faced Power Four teams and we've beaten most of them. So I think we're just going to continue that message here in California, saying like we don't care who's in the field, that we're going to come out and compete to the best of our abilities and um, go out and try and win.
Hey, Clay, this is John Johnson from the Dustin Eagle. I know we're going to talk to Brantley shortly, but he's overcome a lot to be in this position this week. Can you kind of talk about what he's done and meant to the team?
Yeah, absolutely. Brantley, Dothan boy, committed to Troy and has been loyal to Troy. I mean, the kid could play anywhere in the country for any team, anytime. So for him to stay at Troy and, be the student athlete that he's been for Troy, it's truly a blessing. He's a great kid to coach, great kid to be around, pretty dang good fisherman, if I say so. But yeah, I mean, he's such a good competitor. I don't care who's in the field. He always thinks he's the best player, and most of the time he is. His short game's amazing. He can get up and down from a trash can if he needs to. And just we're very lucky to have him.
And, with the physical problems he had in the fall, how did you help him through that mentally?
Yeah, for sure. He was struggling with a shoulder injury over, summer break. But he was playing through it, playing tournaments and whatnot. And then, got back to school and we started qualifying and, he came up to me and was like, Coach, like, I can't hit another shot. And that was, at the time it was tough. It was really tough because, senior year, he's our best player. He was actually leading qualifying after the first round. He shot 69, and it was tough to see him, kind of pull out of that. And then I don't think I saw him hit another golf shot until January. So for him to come back, the way he has and be a top 50 player in the country and compete against guys like Luke Clanton and he got his first collegiate win this year as well, which was amazing for him. Kind of got the monkey off his back for that. But the way he came back after that injury, it was awesome. Because I mean, in the fall, he was doing all he was doing was going to class. He wasn't practicing because he couldn't work out. He was seeing doctors and they were kind of telling him the same thing. Just like let and stuff like that, and it just wasn't getting better, any better. So um, he finally took a shot and it started healing up and he started feeling better and started hitting balls and kind of got back to his top form in January and February. So he's had an incredible spring and I look for it to continue at the national championship.
This is Juliana Rickenbaugh, WAKA. What strengths do you think play to your team with the Omni La Costa course, and what challenges might it present?
Yeah, so we haven't been on property yet. None of the guys have seen the course. We've only seen it on TV. But from what we know, it's a tough golf course. It's pretty long. The greens are going to be firm and fast. But we've seen that all year. We've played in tough conditions, windy conditions, cold conditions. We've played very hard golf courses as well. So this team right here is a tough golf course team. Like we'll go out there and play those courses really hard. We usually lead the field in pars, which is an amazing stat to lead in. because we know that, we're getting around the golf course, not losing any shots. We might not make as many birdies as other teams, but we're going to stay in there and make a bunch of pars. So when the putts do start falling and those birdies do start, racking up, then we'll jump up the leaderboard for sure. But I think we're just looking forward to getting, used to the golf course. The practice round is huge for us. We'll do a lot of putting and chipping and talking about the golf course and stuff like that. So we're just looking forward to getting out there.
And what does it mean to you as a coach to lead Troy its first ever NCAA championships in golf?
I mean, if I can't even put that into words, really. When I first took the job, I tried to meet with each player, and I sat down to dinner with Jake Springer at Hook's Barbecue, and we got to talking about the team and kind of the expectations and everything. And he brought up like Coach, we're not here just to win a few tournaments and win conference. We're here to go to the national championship and win a national championship. And this was before like I knew who the guys were. But when I heard him say that, like I knew that this was possible with these guys, just because the mindset, that Jake has, that Brantley has, that Nick has. Lee Popple played phenomenal last week for us to be in this position as well. The mindset that he has, just all the guys, we have that mindset to go out there and compete, with all these Power Four teams and teams that are ranked higher than us, and we don't care about that. We're here to win, and we believe that we can do that.
Hey Clay, obviously Troy Golf, a rich tradition, three national championships at Division II level. Before the three regional appearances, before an individual made it out of two of those. Just expand a little bit on, the history of Troy Golf. This is, it's a proud program. This is something that's, a continuation of something that's kind of been there and just the history of what Troy is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it kind of stems back to the supporters of the program as well, because all the main supporters are guys who played at that, Division II level on those Division II national championship teams and stuff like that, and they're still around the program 24/7. I mean, I talk to them weekly and daily, and they just want to keep up with the golf team, and they're so very proud of kind of what we've done. And my job coming in was to kind of continue that rich tradition of winning and trying to get this team back to a national championship at the Division I level, and for it to happen in year two is kind of surreal, but we're here and we just want to add to the legacy that is Troy Golf.